The Calgary Flames faced their first regulation loss of the season against the Carolina Hurricanes, but that's great because all the pressure is off.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today, we are going to be picking apart the game against the Hurricanes, as well as talking about this team's weaknesses, including the penalty kill, as well as Matt Coronado's reassignment to the Wranglers, and a preview for tomorrow night's matchup against the airportless Winnipeg Jets. Make sure you are subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. Your Calgary Flames every day. And let's dive right into this. So, first regulation loss of the season. I know everyone is, just so devastated and so heartbroken, right? No, I really didn't see I don't want to say overly emotional because, like, it's sports. Everything is kind of overly emotional there. But it didn't feel like any, like, real overreactions. Like, we all knew this was coming, and I'm glad that it happened now. Uh, like I said, get the pressure out of the way. Take that kind of extra added stress off of them. And I'm sure that they don't go into these situations and, like, oh, yeah, we got this point streak going, got to keep it alive. Like, yes, that's great. It's a great thing to remember, but, like, you're also just, like, trying to win. And last night they didn't do that, and so be it. It's gonna be a lot of losses in an 82-game season. Jonathan Huberdeau and Jake Bean had the both goals for the Calgary Flames last night, so thank you so much for showing up and clocking in and being a player, a team player. But in all seriousness, I don't think Vladar was necessarily the issue. I know that he did come out and say that he had some cramping towards the end there, and I'm sure Carolina is a very they're a tougher team to play against than most teams in the Pacific and the West. I liked that we saw Pospisil back on the wing. I think that that's something that we're probably going to see more of just because of the funky lineup changes that we're going to see with Sharon Govich coming back, as well as Sam Honzik or Matt Coronado slotting back in. This is all a giant guessing game at the moment, but I don't hate Pospisil at center. I feel like he is more productive and he's more in tune with his game, I guess you could say, when he's on the wing. That's just like his natural position. He was absolutely more physical last night. He just looked more comfortable, I guess would be the right phrasing there. But my biggest concern last night was the penalty kill. I'm sorry, but you cannot keep letting up power play goals every single game. Your PK has to show up at some point. And not just like in rare flashes and spurts. Like, I should not be surprised when you kill a penalty. No one should. That is the expectations. Of course, power play goals are going to happen, but it should not be like, I'm terrified for when this team plays the Dallas Stars. Dallas had like 4 or 5 power play goals, or I think 3 or 4 against the Bruins last night. The Flames cannot afford to do that. They can't be in and out of the box. This isn't trick or treat. We're not going to the penalty box to get some candy and watch the other team score. Like, we're just not doing that. You don't get a reward. You get punished. So the Flames need to get that together. They they there's just no other way around it, and we're going to talk more about that in a second. But it's not ideal. This is a consistent issue. We're not even 10 games into this season yet, and we're seeing issues, pretty glaring issues. Um, like I mentioned at the start of the show, Igor Sharangovich and Sam Honzik were both skating with the group today. Um, and with Coronado reassigned, I'm very likely to believe that Sharangovich will be coming off of IR and within hours. uh Obviously, it's great that Coronado is waiver exempt, helps the Flames cause a lot, and this is just the beginning of some of the lineup changes we're going to see. I think Matt Coronado has had a great start to the season and has earned a roster spot, and I'm hopeful and I believe that he'll see more NHL time when we see another shift. And that's, him playing in the AHL, not a bad thing. It's what he needs to keep this going and build that confidence, build that routine up and that stamina, keep that going. But coming up next, I'm going to eviscerate the Flames penalty kill because I just am very tired of their nonsense here on Locked On Flames. All right, Flames fans, if you are up for some daily fantasy sports, you need to get in on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money and even if one pick doesn't hit. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each Tuesday. Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code LOCKEDONNHL on the Prize Picks app to get $50 instantly on your first $5 lineup. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. I hope you're having a great week and you get to enjoy your Friday. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. Here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. You know what isn't here for us every day? The Flames penalty kill. I said it all off season long. The Flames penalty kill this year was going to humble them. And this is one of those situations where I hate to be right. They are just not. They have given up far too many power play goals this season. They have given up 6 in 7 games. That's not great. And this isn't something that can necessarily be fixed overnight. It was kind of shredded overnight when you traded Chris Tanev, but that's fine. Um, I don't really know what you're gonna do here. I think having Kevin Rooney back for the penalty kill will be great. I think that he does bring a little bit more defensive security to your lineup, and obviously your penalty kill than you have right now. But you have to look at this team and accept that this is probably what that's going to be all season long. We know this team isn't going out and buying at the deadline. They're not going out and looking for another shutdown defenseman. They aren't going out there. Well, they might be looking for a strong two-way forward with a center, but this isn't going to be like there's not going to be a splash that like saves the Flames penalty kill. Unless a miracle happens, of course, which I mean, hey, anything's possible. We've seen the universe work miracles in the Flames' favors before. But the one thing that I do think is good is that the shooting percentage is up all around overall with this team, and that's what they've needed. And to be able to come back from not shooting the puck to through these first 7 games rather being above league average, I'll take it. I think that you're going to have to find creative ways to generate offense with this team, and that's how it's always been pretty much, because you don't have you have okay, rewind. Connor Zary is very good at hockey. I like that he gets down and gets in there deep and is there. He is ready to play any rebound. He has that good net front presence. But I'm still missing, not just from him, obviously. I think, it takes a special type of player to do this successfully, kind of make it their thing. And that's why, Tkachuk and Johnny were so highly regarded. I miss those two wraparound goals, how they would feed off of each other and just get the puck in the net one way or another. I see a lot of that in Connor Zary. And I think that Zary is very talented. And he has absolutely blossomed into a great NHL player. And I think obviously there's still a little bit more room to grow there. But if yes, Locked On Flames listeners, if the Flames are able to focus and hone in on those skills, even more, then he will become even more valuable to this team than he's already becoming. And I think that's going to solve a lot of your offense problems. Your defensive problems, I think, are going to come with time. Imagine if this team did not get Kevin Ball. I mean, not very good at defense anyways, but if they don't have experienced NHL goal defensemen and they're just running with rookies. Could you imagine the mess we'd be in? I think that Miromanov, they need to figure something out with him because he's not a top 4 pairing defenseman. And yes, I get why you want him to be, because you want to make the Hanifin trade look a little bit better, but you can't fit a square peg in a round hole sort of deal. You gotta have to get creative here. I think that Grushnikov, Jeremy Poirier, Hunter Brustowicz, like, there are players that have higher ceilings that are going to deserve that spot. Zane Perrick, like, so many deserving players, and I don't know what's gonna happen. And I think that this is, again, just one of those things where you have to let play out and just, like, unfold in front of you. Could they move Miramonov down and maybe play Kevin Ball higher? I don't know. Ryan Huska can do whatever he wants. I'm sorry, but I saw someone else say this the other day, and it is so true. The national media, when they're talking about how good the Flames are doing and, like, oh, like, any of the Flames' success, Ryan Huska never gets mentioned. Ryan Huska is the driving force behind this team's success. I don't like giving coaches too much credit because they're not the ones out on the ice. But last season and this season, he has taken what he's had and turned it into, a functioning hockey team. And so far this season, they've been pretty good. And I do think Huska deserves his flowers there. So congratulations, Ryan Huska. Nobody else can hire you, though. You have to be with the Flames through this whole process. I think I do want to do an episode on Huska and his coaching strategy, I guess might be the right word, approach at some point this season. But at the end of the day, he can't fix the penalty kill the same way that Mark Savard couldn't fix the power play, the same way that this Flames power play is going to be. I don't think it's going to be sustainably successful. But again, that's just me. We are very early into this. So we will have to wait and see what the season brings to us. And we're going to talk more about that coming up next here on Locked On Flames and what we can expect going into the 8th game of the season against the Winnipeg Jets. Alrighty. Hello, NFL fans. If you want to start the season with a big return, you can visit FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com, America's #1 sportsbook. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at JustBelmosto. Tomorrow night, the Flames take on the lone undefeated team in the NHL, the Winnipeg Jets. Jets. 7-0, first in the Central. I would say that's pretty good. Mark Scheifele leads the team with 10 points, and right behind him is Nikolai Ehlers with 9, and Kyle Connor with 8. Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele both have 5 goals. I think that is rather impressive. Obviously, the Jets were good last year. We knew this, but wasn't really sure how their offseason would kind of translate into the following season. And I would say it's safe to say, like, this is a good team. They ended up getting Cole Perfetti re-signed, no problem. Their goaltending is just so unserious. Like, Connor Hellebuck is just a ridiculous goaltender, and I'm excited to see Dustin Wolf go up against him. I think, like, I don't want to jinx it, but I do think that it's going to be like a goaltender, like showdown, duel sort of situation. Like both of those goalies are so good at their job. They're so laser focused and locked in that like you don't want to cross their line. Like Connor Hellebuck kind of scares me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure he's a wonderful, wonderful person, but he is so intense. His resume, his award shelf. Like if I was Dustin Wolf, I'd be a little nervous too. But then at the same time, you're trying to be like him. You want to be feared. You want when people come to play the Flames, oh my god, like they're gonna have to go up against Dustin Wolf. Like, he's won a Vesna. He's had XYZ last season, didn't allow a goal through 120 minutes, like 2 games, whatever the case is. And you have to start somewhere. And we know that Wolf has the impressive developmental resume that he has. 2-time AHL goaltender of the year, WHL goaltender of the year, as well as many more accolades. And I think it's great. Like the Flames are good. Like I see their future being pretty good as long as they have Dustin Wolf, because I currently do not believe there's another goaltender that's really in their pipeline that is within the next 2 years going to be where Dustin Wolf is. And I think tomorrow, while the Flames are playing the Jets, I think that it's going to be heavy on everyone's mind that like this is what Dustin Wolf could turn out to be. But let's not put too much pressure on the kid his first month into the season. I think, obviously the biggest issue for the Flames going into tomorrow is the desperate need for them to play a full concerted 60-minute effort. They are struggling to put together full 60-minute games. And we've seen that. We did see it against Vancouver. We saw it against the Penguins the other night. Saw it against the Hurricanes. And I'm sure in those games in between. It's a long season, but there should still be enough gas in the tank. At this point, it's the end of October. There's plenty of reason to keep your foot on the gas. And I feel like that's been an issue for the Flames for a couple seasons now. It is truly putting together a full 60-minute effort. And, I think about the season with 17 overtime losses. Do you know how nice it would have been to just wrap it up in 60? It's great that you wanted to hang on and fight, but that's like a quarter of your season just tied up in losses, overtime losses. And if you can just bang out those wins, get those goals during regulation, you do not have to worry about that. I really hope that we do start to see more of that effort put forward by the Flames, because obviously, what's the word I'm looking for? It does take a little bit to kind of get the ball rolling and build off of momentum, but they did come out pretty strong last night, I will say, against the Hurricanes. They came out looking good, and then once they got comfortable, they took their foot off the gas. And you can't do that. You might be able to do that if you're a very good team. But the Flames are not at that, like, that Florida Panther level where you can just kind of coast. You have to be on 110% through the full 60. As soon as that puck drops, as soon as that buzzer ends or buzzer goes off, you need to be locked in. And I think I don't want to say it's going to become more natural, because I thought last year maybe they would kind of eventually get into the swing of things, but hopefully this year they're able to just jump right into it and keep the foot on the gas. None of this taking it off because, you're up a few goals. I think we saw that happen against the Penguins. Or, the Penguins came out looking absolutely abysmal, and the Flames were walking all over them. And then the Flames got comfortable. Didn't work out too great. But that will do it for me on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me and tuning in to today's episode. I hope you've had a fantastic week. I'm so glad it is Friday. I am going to watch Game 1 of the World Series. I hope both teams lose. But yes. So have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in and making Locked On Flames part of your day. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you Monday.